Hello my loves and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Nina and today I'm sharing skincare tips from some of the most iconic women of the 1960s. If you needed grandma type of advice, you are in the perfect video because the tips that I'm going to share today are gentle, practical, and honestly worth trying. So without further ado, let's start with the beauty advice. The first tip comes from my muse from the 1960s, Marianne Faithfull. She was a singer, a writer, an actress, and a beautiful person. She sadly passed away on January 30th this year, which is super sad, but it's an honor to keep her on top of my list of skincare advice, especially because if you've ever seen any of her interviews, you'll know that she always gives like the wisest sentences in like such an innocent manner. I adore that about her.
But then you've got to go back to sleep and dream and go into another world. You see, there are lots of worlds. I mean, people just think this is the only one there is.
So, getting into the actual tip, this I took from an article that is titled My Face and I. It was written by Georgina Howell, a British journalist, and she interviewed Marianne Faithfull to talk about makeup and about multiple things regarding her face, her skin, her beauty tricks. And in one part of the article, she says, "One habit I've kept from boarding school days, washing my face in cold water in the morning." This is actually really good advice because cold water can reduce puffiness, it tightens your pores temporarily, and it also helps you wake up, as we all know. So this is really similar to what we now know as the ice facials, the cryo rollers, even like the spoon tips that some people suggest doing. So it's free, it's effective, we love that. I would only keep in mind for anyone who has rosacea or very sensitive skin to avoid this tip, because cold exposure can trigger some flare-ups when it comes to those issues. But if you don't have those, then you can probably start incorporating this into your routine. The second tip that I have is from the iconic Pattie Boyd. This is like our queen of the vintage community, so I'm sure you know about her. But Pattie Boyd was an amazing model from the 60s, also known to be wife of George Harrison and Eric Clapton. And she had this column on 16 magazine that was called Pattie Boyd's Beauty Box. So let's dive into her quote in this article. She says, "Serious skin problems such as acne should be treated by a doctor." 100% agree with that. I have really bad skincare issues and I do have a dermatologist for that. So if you do have that problem, that's the best tip that you can get from anyone. But she continues saying, "Oily skin and blackheads can be combated on a personal level by washing your face at least twice a day with a mild soap and rinse thoroughly." That's for sure something that is necessary. You need to wash your face. And something interesting about this is that the most famous soap that people would use in the 60s to wash their face was the Dove Beauty Bar, which is still being sold today, and it's the one that I use, and it's really good for your face because it's sulfate free and it's pH balanced. If I need something stronger at some specific times because I have like a specific pimple or something, I'll go with the ones that my dermatologist sends me, but I don't use those every day. The one that I use every single day is a Dove Beauty Bar, and I swear by that. One thing that I don't do that Pattie Boyd suggests is to do it twice a day. I found that my skin doesn't like that. I tend to get maybe more oily or more dry in some spots if I do it twice a day, so I try to only do it at night. The next two tips are from Natalie Wood, and I read this on an interview that she had with Lady Elaine. She had multiple interviews with Lady Elaine, but she often repeated the same advice. So we're going to go with the article from 1961, where she talks about her experience being an actress and wearing a ton of makeup since she was 6. So these are the tips that she talks about. By the way, I found this article in a blog called Vintage Venus, Beauty in Classic Hollywood. I sadly couldn't find the original source for this article, so we're just going to keep this blog as the source for this. But in this article, she says the following. When you come home late at night and want to go to bed more than anything else, you have to force yourself to do a thorough job of removing your makeup. It won't come off with one cleansing. You have to go over it again and check with skin lotion to be sure nothing is left. Or if you don't, it will be the beginning of dodged enlarged pores. This is like today's skincare Bible. Double cleansing is the most important thing that you have on your routine. So of course we go by this. This is really important. If you don't do it, you have to. There are millions of videos on the internet of people just using foundation on an orange and then trying to remove it just once and nothing comes off, so that's scary. So definitely double cleansing, something that is really important today and that some people sometimes don't do. And the other tip that she gives was the actual one that sort of blew my mind because I didn't know about this. It was the first time I was hearing this and it makes total sense. She says, "My skin is the first place to show it when I'm tired. But sometime after a long day on the art, I have a date in the evening and not much time to rest. I find my skin gets a pickup from bathing it with aspirin." A wardrobe woman from Austria told me to dissolve an aspirin tablet in warm water, pat the mixture all over my face with a piece of cotton, and then lie down and rest for the next 10 minutes. This is really interesting because the chemical that aspirin has is family to the salicylic acid chemicals, so it makes sense that it's anti-inflammatory and it's actually exfoliating for the skin. So this is a really good tip. I wouldn't suggest or recommend people to go around and do this every day. She even says that it's something that she only does if she feels like her skin shows how tired she is, or if she hasn't been sleeping well and she has something important to do the next day. But it's not something that you should be doing every single night. There are also, I'm sure, a lot of modern products that you can use to give that pickup. Just try this if you are in an emergency, if you're traveling, if you're doing something and you have the aspirin at home and not any other product. But I would highly suggest this as wise advice to keep in mind if you ever encounter yourself in a situation where you don't have anything and you need something to fix you up real quick in like 15 minutes tops. The only thing I would keep in mind is that if you're allergic to aspirin, you should just stay away from it. Same thing if you have really sensitive skin, because it might do the opposite thing. It might irritate you more. So I would suggest to skip this tip completely. The next tip is from Brigitte Bardot. She is a French actress, really known for multiple plays and for being a beauty icon as well. And I found this picture of a magazine where there are a lot of makeup and skincare tips. It's in French, so I had to translate it, but the article says the following. "In real life, I don't wear powder or foundation, but to film I have to. I use a very light tinted cream in a tube, always a very pale color." This is great advice, especially today, because multiple tinted creams already have SPF, so if you just need something to even out your skin tone, this is going to be a lot better than using foundation, because it's going to let your skin breathe a lot more and it's going to help you avoid sun damage, which is extremely important, especially nowadays. One tip that she gives is that she removes her makeup with cleansing milk and a pink cotton, and she refreshes her face with mineral water. Any grandma will tell you that the best cream to do this is Pond's. It was the most famous facial cream that women would buy in the 60s, and it's still being sold today. It's the one that I use and I swear by it. So if you are looking for a cheap option to remove your makeup and to hydrate your face, I would go with Pond's. There are multiple commercials from the 60s that are really interesting. There's one with Pattie Boyd. I'm sure you've seen it sometime. but there's one specific cream that you use for removing your makeup, and then there's another one for hydration. I use both, one for removing, and the idea with removing the makeup is to put a thick layer of cream, hop into the shower, let the humidity do its job, and then you remove, then you clean or double cleanse with the mild soap, and then you just wash and you're ready, and then you can put the hydration cream on top so that it seals and you look wonderful. It doesn't happen like the Pond's commercial where it says like in 7 days guys are going to be all over you, but you know, it's a really good cream, I would say, and I would definitely recommend it. The next tip comes from the iconic and beautiful Sharon Tate. This is also the tip that I've learned recently that has saved my life, or at least my lips. I took this advice from a video that I saw from Julien's auction where Deborah Tate, Sharon's sister, is featured. She's performing a makeup tutorial to show how Sharon would do her makeup, her iconic eye makeup, and she talks a lot about her. It's an interesting video to watch. This was made back when Sharon Tate's property was being auctioned in this company, and this video we have Deborah Tate talking so lovingly about the amazing soul that Sharon was. So it's nice to see. I'm going to leave it in the description as well. She shares one specific tip that I loved.
Sharon would do Vaseline on her lips or a very flesh colored lipstick.
The great thing about Vaseline is that it's an occlusive that seals in moisture. So anything you wear under the Vaseline, it's going to be absorbed quite easily by your skin. And if you have really dry lips, this is the best thing that you can do. Whenever I wear makeup and I put some lipstick that goes dry in, or it's winter and I have like amazing makeup on top and then I have really dried lips and concerning dried lips, so Vaseline has been the one thing that has helped me. I have other products that help me with like reconstructing my lips whenever I have them broken, but overall I just put that and then I put the Vaseline, or just lipstick and then the Vaseline, and it's been working amazingly. So if I can suggest anything at all that you should take as an advice, is to use Vaseline instead. Sharon was of course really beautiful, and it's worth trying. It's like one cheap thing that you can get in the pharmacy, and that's really helpful. I used to think that my lip problem was something bigger. It couldn't be solved with Vaseline because it's so cheap. It shouldn't be the answer to my problem, and turns out it was. So, you know, try it out. Last but not least, we have the actress and activist and iconic Jane Fonda. I don't think this advice comes from the 1960s. I tried to find an original source, but I couldn't, so we're just going to go with this. But I feel like it makes sense because she repeats this right now all the time. She has been asked about her skincare routine all throughout her life because she looks so healthy and so beautiful. So, you know, we just have to take her advice for sure. The first thing that she talks about is eating healthy. Of course, that makes sense. For having great skin, you have to eat well, you have to have a nice diet, balanced and healthy. The second thing is to stay hydrated. We should all drink 2 liters of water a day. I don't do that every single day. I forget. If you're here with me, stand up and go get a glass of water. It's really healthy for you to do that, and we often forget that we should. The last thing is to keep your body moving. That makes complete sense because Jane Fonda has one of the most iconic exercising routines. She actually has like so many exercising routines from like every era of her life, and I've been following one of those for the last 3 years. I actually want to make a video about it because it has changed my body, my skin, my attitude, my discipline. Like, I could only say good things about Jane Fonda's workout routine, and I will be making a video on that soon. But for now, I'm just going to say that if you're looking for anything to do, moving your body, you could dance, you could start by exercising, walking. There are so many things you can do, and it's a really nice tip to close this video, because what's really important with your skin is that when you're healthy inside, it reflects on the outside. And it definitely goes with skin, that if you're healthy, that wellness is going to reflect on your face, and that goes with like the emotional wellness, the physical wellness. So anything you can do to improve your life will definitely show in your face, in your mood, in the people around you. So be sure to include any of these things if they resonated with you. These are all the tips that I have for today. I hope you like them. Let me know if you try any of this, or if you have any vintage tips of your own. I would love to hear any beauty advice on the comments. And if you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe. There's more coming. So thank you for being here, and see you soon. Bye!
But they sure got some cuties incorrect.